Hi, and welcome to Section 2 of Breakout Women Course 1. Now, in this section, we're going to talk about the power of habits. And I know we all know what habits are. You know, maybe it's smoking or drinking too much or biting our nails or all of those things that we come up with, right? But habits are not just about behavior. Habits are also thinking habits, the way we think about our world and process our reality. So habits come into play in more than just our behaviors. They come into the whole situation about how we filter our data and select our reality, right? So our unconscious mind and our conscious mind both create habits for efficiency, because if something is habitual, our mind doesn't have to think about it, it just happens, all right? And remember, the prime focus of our unconscious mind is to keep us safe. So as much time as it can save from having to process anything by habit, it will do that because it wants to focus on the threat out there and making sure we're okay. So it creates more and more habits to be able to have free cycles. Now, the unconscious mind also takes things that we do consciously, like driving, the first time we skied, the first time we learned multiplication tables. It takes habits like that that begin in consciousness and moves them into unconscious mindware habits so that the conscious mind can also have more power and more cycles because it doesn't have to focus on that anymore. So habits become something that drive much of our behavior. Now, we also have habits in our thought patterns, all right? And those habits come from, first of all, we talked about experiential programs, but they also come from long-term focus and expectations by ourselves on what we think, what we're focused on in our lives and what we expect, all right? And those habits are the ones that really have the impact on how we process our data and what we select out of that 11 million bits to become in that tiny little 127-bit packet, all right? So those thinking habits also are what create the repetitive patterns in our lives. How's that? So for example, I had bad relationship after bad relationship after bad relationship. I got stood up at the altar. I could tell you stories about, man, my friends all want me to write a book. But that was all from an initial habit pattern that was created by my father when the abuse started. And as a result of that, I was looking for my father again to make him love me and save me. And so therefore I picked all these guys who were nasty critters. They were great on the outside, but they were nasty on the inside because I was looking for dad. That was my repetitive thought pattern. So, you know, wrong men, bad business deals, health issues, lack of money, not promoting ourselves, a lot of the things that we have habitually, and we say, my God, it's like Groundhog Day, it happened again. Those are habitual thought patterns, and part of what we're going to talk about in this section is how you can change them so that they deliver to you what you want, all right? Instead of what you've created in the past that you don't want to keep repeating. Now, as you'll remember, we started in Lesson 1 with paying attention to the conversations in our minds, all right? And that was so that we could start to identify some of the limiting habits and voices we have in our heads. Now, the other thing I want you to do is I want you to add to that list in your journal of the things that, you hear yourself saying to yourself, the scary, repetitive things. I want you to think about the repetitive things that have happened in your life that haven't been exactly what you wanted to happen, right? And every time it happens, you go, God, didn't I learn the lesson last time? Or it's Groundhog Day all over again. Or why does this always happen to me? I want you to notice those things and log them so that as we move through this section, we can work on them, all right? And we can start to change them, all right? So that whatever that repetitive pattern is that's been limiting you, bye-bye, it will leave, all right? Now, I also want you to take a look at the exercises for Section 2, and they are in the lesson that says exercises, and just take a look at them so you know what's coming, and also continue to do Audio 1, Mind Shifting Away from Fear, because we want at least another week of that. Once again, 3 times, 4 times a week, but every day's best. So hang in there, have a great session, and we will talk to you on the next lesson.